Hi, welcome. This is my new book, Easy Wins. I find it difficult to cook anything without lemons. There's always a massive bowl of lemons in my kitchen. I love them. I just think they add so much. They add so many different elements of much as well. They add sort of sherbety zestiness, they add acidity, they add kind of really bright perkiness, they add loads and loads and loads. You know, they can add like sweet stickiness if you roast them. So today I'm gonna cook the very first recipe in the book. Here it is, the lemon chapter. The very first recipe in the book, which is the pasta al limone. Apologies for my very bad Italian accent. I think really simple pasta done well is the best. The flavours are lemon, Parmesan, olive oil, a little bit of butter. Really the key to these simple pastas is the starchy pasta water that the pasta is cooked in. The pasta and everything, all the flavourings go into one pan and then they cook in this water and it becomes this delicious, sticky, lemony sauce. So, it's one of those recipes that almost isn't really a recipe because it's so simple. But what is key here is the measurements. So when you're cooking pasta normally, it doesn't obviously matter how much water you add to the pan, but here it really does. We're gonna use, about 400 grams of pasta. And like, I'm not really one for measuring things in general, and I have usually quite a good guess of how many grams something is. But I'm going to measure it this time because the ratio of pasta to water is important. So that's 338 grams, guys. So we're going to make it up to 400. It's like really, this is the perfect way to weigh pasta, by the way. So if you ever want to like weigh pasta, this is a really good way. That is 400 grams of pasta. So the pasta goes, this is like the perfect pan for this. You basically want a pan that is deep enough for your water, but will fit the pasta kind of end to end. This one is a little bit short, but as soon as the water goes in here, the pasta will curl down into the pan and it'll be absolutely great. So we've got our 400 grams of pasta and then we've got 2 large unwaxed lemons. It's important to have unwaxed lemons if you can when you're using the zest, because otherwise you're just grating a whole load of wax into your food. And I've never heard anyone say that wax is particularly delicious. I would say if you've got like particularly small lemons, that we've got some little tiny weeny ones here. I mean, if you've got a lemon of that size, I would do 4. If you've got, you know, a sort of slightly smaller than that lemon, maybe do 3. Also depends on your love of lemon. My love of lemon, as we've already covered, is high. So to me, almost nothing is too lemony. It's a really pleasing pile of lemon here. I'm just gonna use 1 clove of garlic here. I'm not even gonna chop this. I'm just like bashing it up so that it's broken so the water gets in there and some of the flavour comes out. I need about 100 mils of olive oil. Again, I'm not one for measuring, especially like, well, in baking I do, but I don't really measure in savoury recipes that much. I'm measuring here because the liquid to pasta ratio is important. So that's 100 mils of olive oil. Feels like a lot. Might seem a lot to you, but this is what's going to create the kind of silky, delicious sauce. So I can't find my teaspoon measure, but I'm just going to use a teaspoon of flaky salt. That is all of our kind of flavourings. And now I'm going to add the water. So this is a kettle that's literally just come off the boil. And so for 400 grams of spaghetti, we want to add 1 litre of water. And now this is going to go on the hob and we're going to bring it to the boil. And I'm just going to persuade this pasta underneath the water. So I've turned this on to high. I'm going to cover it with a lid and I'm going to bring it to the boil. And then once it comes to the boil, I'm going to remove the lid and we're going to cook it for 8 minutes. We can grate some Parmesan, roughly about sort of 40 grams of Parmesan. And this is the Parmesan that's going to kind of go into the pasta to make the sauce. Just every 30 seconds or so, I'm going to turn the pasta in the water. That's just to kind of stop it clumping up and to make sure that it's kind of all coated and it's all cooking evenly. You know, if you wanted to, you could add other vegetables here. So I would imagine in spring it would be really nice with some peas or broad beans stirred through at the end. Some shredded greens would be delicious in here. Yeah, any kind of really quick cooking vegetable would be great. If you wanted to stir through at the end some like cooked chickpeas for a kind of pasta cecchi kind of lemon scenario, that would also be delicious. I'm just going to keep this really simple and finish it with some basil because I really just love the simplicity of this. Just serve it with salad, guys. Greens on the side. So you can see here how we've got about 1.5 minutes left of cooking time, and you can see how almost all of the pasta water has been absorbed into the pasta. So that has had 8 minutes. And can you see here, what you want is still a little bit of liquid around this pasta. I'm going to squeeze this juice in, so it's the juice of 1 big lemon, and then it's going to just cook for another 2 minutes. So I do that with the lemon juice at the end because I want that lemony flavour, that acidity of the lemon juice to really come through and be quite like upfront. I think if you did that at the beginning, it would sort of mellow over the cooking. So the heat's going to go off. I'm going to add the 40 grams of grated Parmesan, and then I'm going to add about 50 grams of butter. Mix that in. So I'm just going to put the lid back on for like 20-30 seconds because you just want the Parmesan and the butter to kind of all absorb into the pasta. So this is our pasta, and you can see there's like a sort of silky, delicious, creamy almost sauce, but what's making it creamy is the starch from that pasta. Let's have some. I'm just going to spoon over a little bit of extra delicious lemony sauce, and then just going to finish it off, a bit of Parmesan, maybe a little bit of basil. And if you wanted to, you could do a little bit of pepper here. You know, that is a really, really simple bowl of pasta, but the simpler the pasta, to me, the more delicious. I actually take a lot more Parmesan though. Considering that all cooked in one pan, I did everything in the kind of 10 minutes that it took to cook the pasta. It's like such a great dinner.